Hello and welcome to Paula Armstrong Ceramics. In my next one of my question and answer series, I thought I would tackle the subject of suppliers. I'm quite often asked, where do I get my supplies from? Now, the problem with this one is I'm based in the UK, so most of my answers are going to be quite specific to UK. Some of them might be helpful to other places in that I order a lot of things online, and I'm sure that's the same with a lot of countries, that you can get most of your things online. But the suppliers that I use are generally UK based for the most part. So I'm sorry for the rest, anybody that's in the rest of the world. I don't know anywhere else. So I can only answer for the UK. So for myself, I order, like I say, most of my stuff comes from online. My clay, my glazes, my tools, most of my specialist things I order online from suppliers like Pottery Crafts, Pot Clays, Scrava. There's a lot of others, slightly smaller ones as well, that sometimes are really good for specialist supplies. So I'm not recommending any one over any of the others. What I would say is have a good look online, find the supplier that has the thing that you want, that is happy to deliver, check their delivery charges for things, because obviously a lot of these materials are quite heavy, especially if you're ordering things like clay. So check what their delivery charges are, because you might find one is slightly better than another on that front for you. Yeah, so most of my supplies come from online. There are some lovely little local places, so it is worth checking out whether you have a nice little local supply shop near to you. There are some around. They're a rarity, but if you find them, support them. They're little gems, so they're worth having in and near you, because it's a rare thing. The other places you can get supplies is things like a lot of the regional potters associations will have clay stores, and they basically buy in large quantities of different types of clays, have them in a clay store, and then they sell them on to their members at a good rate, because they've managed to get the discounted rate for buying in bulk. So if you have any local regional potters association, there are quite a few around the UK, they might be worth checking out to see whether they offer that service. As far as I know, it's mostly clays. I don't know how much they do in terms of glazes and other supplies, but certainly my local one, you can get some good quality clays at good prices from them. For tools, again, you can buy those from the online suppliers. For a basic simple set to get you going, that doesn't have to be really good quality, you can get a lot of those from places like Amazon or eBay, or places that aren't quite so specialists in, they're more modelling tools rather than specifically ceramics or pottery tools. And the other place to check out is your house. A lot of tools can be things that are repurposed from the home. So for burnishing we use spoons. A knife can just be a kitchen knife, doesn't have to be a potter's knife. We use scalpels for the points sometimes, so that's crafting supplies. Sugar craft supplies are brilliant. They tend to work really well with clay. Cutters are cookie cutters, that kind of thing. So baking and sugar craft, they're all really good tools to use with clay, depending on what you want to do. Just remember that clay will stick to things that are non-porous. So if you're using a lot of the sugar craft tools where you press down with the plastic to press a surface in, you're going to have to peel very gently the clay away. If you're working really, really thinly, you may need to use something between the clay and the actual tool to stop it from sticking. I have to admit, I tend to use corn flour for that, because it burns away really easily in the kiln and doesn't leave too much of a residue behind. different people do different things for that one. So that's my little hint. I would say corn flour, again, another thing that's in the kitchen, will work for that, the same as it does for sugarcraft. For larger supplies like kilns and big pieces of equipment like wheels and things, again, I ordered mine from online suppliers. I did get my last little kiln from my local kiln engineer who has a shop nearby. He had one in the shop. It was an emergency. I needed it fast. It was here within the week. They were amazing. But I have also recently ordered my Raku kiln from one of my main suppliers, the one that I get my clay from, which in my case is Pottery Crafts. So it depends exactly what you want, whether you want to go new. You can buy some good second-hand kilns, particularly the ones, hobby kilns, where you can just plug them in. You have to be careful what you're buying and know a bit about what you're doing, but you can get some good ones on places like eBay. The other place is there's some Facebook groups that offer second-hand pottery equipment. Some of those are really great. They've got people that are selling their old stuff because they've got something new, or they're moving their studio and they don't want to take some of their stuff. There's some great deals on some of those groups as well. They're worth checking out if you've got one that you can find online that's near. Well, I say it doesn't have to be near, because the groups that I'm part of are part of the UK, so they cover the whole of the UK. It depends how far you want to travel when you're looking to get a piece of equipment to go and collect. And some of the bigger pieces, you're going to need a truck or a van with a tail lift, or because they're heavy, really, really heavy. So do think about that before you go and buy any big pieces of equipment, because you need to get them to you. There are companies that will courier them and will move them for you, but just have it in mind that that is part of buying a big piece of equipment. You've got to get it back to your studio. For kind of everyday supplies like my sponges, my aprons, those kinds of things, I tend to just order the same as I would for my house, for my household and day to day. You can just go to the shop and buy them. There's nothing special about the sponges that I use. I actually use car sponges, car cleaning sponges. You can get, obviously, if you're throwing or something, you might want the proper sponge for doing that. But for most of the kind of tidying work that we do with clay, the car sponges are perfectly fine. Aprons, again, I just ordered as I normally would if I wanted one for my home. Yeah, so all of that kind of stuff you can just order as you would normally. For packaging stuff, I recycle, so I use the old boxes and the old packaging I get from things that are delivered to me. So I try not to buy anything new. I just repurpose and reuse as far as I possibly can with that. Well, I think that covers everything in terms of supplies and my suppliers. If you've got any questions, as always, feel free to send them along and ask. As I say, I'm UK based, so I can give as much help as I can as around the UK. In other countries around the world, I'm perhaps not so helpful. But I hope that helps some people. Okay, bye.